campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
April 16th, 2014. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember that date? Well, if you were in Korea back then, you will likely never forget April 16th because today marks the 12th anniversary of the Seoul ferry tragedy, the disaster that took the lives of 304 people, mainly Danwon High School students who were on the way to Jeju. Few recent tragedies are collectively etched into our memories as deeply as the Seoul tragedy. So let's take a moment to remember them once again. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, April 16th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I'm sorry that I had to... Actually, I'm not sorry. We're commemorating a tragedy that happened, and we all remember it so well. So I did want to at least mention it because I feel like, throughout the rest of the year, we might not think of what happened. And the whole point is this. Have things gotten better in terms of safety? Are we doing the best we can to keep each other safe? So, questions like that I think are healthy to have on a day like this. Anyhow, it is Thursday. Welcome to Morning Wave in Busan. Now I want to talk about some local issues as we gear up for the June 3rd elections. And yes, we're going to be talking about the elections as we head into election season. We're actually going to expand the scope from Busan City to the greater Bulgyeong area, which is under renewed attention for the respective parties' candidates. And for the ruling Democratic Party or DP candidates, they are floating this whole mega city concept. Busan mayoral candidate Jeon Jae-soo, Ulsan mayoral candidate Kim Sang-uk, and Gyeongnam governor's candidate Kim Kyung-soo met in front of late President Roh Moo-hyun's grave earlier this week and officially launched their Mega City Initiative. And this is a revival of the push from the 2018 to 2022 period when the three municipalities, they sought to tie these regions into one living sphere to turn them into one special integrated region. The opposition People Power Party, PPP candidates have introduced special legislation for a Busan Gyeongnam special city to the National Assembly. Busan mayoral candidate Park Hyung-jun and Gyeongnam governor's candidate Park Wan-soo, along with PPP lawmakers from these areas, held a press conference to announce this bill. What does this bill seek to do? Well, they want to launch the special city by 2018, integrating the two regions' administrations with the possibility of Ulsan joining under mayoral candidate Kim Do-gyum's pledge to consider this proposal. Ultimately, the two proposals do share the same goal, and it's to get out of this whole capital-centric development model by securing more funding and infrastructure via these integrations. However, they do differ in detail. But for many who have been in Busan for the past few elections, this is kind of feeling like deja vu. We have seen these attempts at integration be introduced, make varying progress, and then what do we remember? Fizzling out, especially if the administration changes. Again, they do share the common goal of balanced development for Busan, Ulsan, and Gyeongnam. And in that case, it seems that this is one issue that the candidates could actually agree upon, come together on, regardless of party lines. So, in theory, that's what we want. We want politicians to be fighting for us, right? Regardless of, what party they're from, and to work for the people. So let's hope that that's where they're headed. And now it's time for a text topic. So here we go. What is something big or small that affects the quality of your life, or, kind of makes your day? On the flip side, breaks your day. Oh no. Okay, 나의 책은 삶의 질을 결정하는 요소. What is it? It could be something really major. It could be something minor. I'll go first. I know this is so vain and so trivial, and you're going to think I'm so shallow. If I'm having a good hair day, it makes me smile. I'm being serious. If, my hair is wavy and going in the right direction and the wind blows and you're like, oh, you catch a glimpse of yourself like in a window passing by. And by the way, I am not like staring at every single like surface and reflection of myself. But sometimes you're just like, oh, my hair looks kind of decent today. And then there are days where like you 신경 써. You pay attention to how your hair is going to be, and then it just like, waited, like what is going on? Why is the world against me? I know it's so minor. Maybe it's just me, but hair makes a difference to me. So you can let me know through a BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산 영어 방송, to find our channel. Subscribe, and then you can log in and chat with other waivers. Also, from your phone, the traditional pound 9050 shop 9050. That will cost you 100 won. You can also reach me through Kakao Talk, which is free, easy, because you got to add us first, BEFM, find us. Add us as a friend and send in your messages that way. And the ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan on the radio, if you're in the Busan area, depending on where you are, it's 90.5 or 103.3 FM. Like I said, we're streaming live right now. Come check us out. And you can check us out on the BFM app, Papang app as well, because they're both free and easy to download. All right, so it's the last Thursday of this season. Who's coming in today? We have Jian with our local news. We have Haley for top stories. Waga tea time. That's on hour number 2. We have Dr. Ryu Sang-hyo coming in today. So, every time he's on, the waivers out there, you have such great questions for him. And I appreciate the fact that he really does take the time, even after his segment is over, to peruse the messages and answer all of your questions. So thank you, Dr. Ryu, if you're listening, coming in right now. We have Michael in hour number 2 for Cultural Interlude. And then for a special interview. She actually, I have like a girl crush on her because she's so amazing. Dr. Kelsey Young from NASA, the lunar science lead for NASA's Artemis 2 mission. She's coming on air with us once again to talk about Artemis 2. So that's coming up in hour number 2, and I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:07, and this is News Overview. South Korea secures 273 million barrels of crude oil. South Korea has secured 273 million barrels of crude oil by the end of this year from 4 nations in the Middle East, along with 2.1 million tons of naphtha. That's according to Presidential Chief of Staff Kang Hoon-sik. South Korea has no plans to pay Iran for passage through Horsmu즈. South Korea has no plans to pay Iran to get its stranded ships out of the Strait of Hormuz, nor intentions to take any action against the U.S. blockade of the shipping lane, said Foreign Minister Cho Hyun yesterday. calls for deregulation in new businesses. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday called for removing unnecessary and outdated regulations to promote new businesses while urging efforts to ensure global competitiveness. National Assembly fails to adopt confirmation report for BOK nominee. The ruling and opposition parties remain divided over the Bank of Korea governor nominee Shin Hyun-song, with the Strategy and Finance Committee ending its session without adopting a confirmation hearing report. U.S. says ongoing talks on Iran's ceasefire productive. The White House said that reports that the U.S. have formally asked Iran to extend the 2-week ceasefire are not true, but that conversations are productive and ongoing. This was News Overview. It's time for Now Busan. We have Jean here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I want to get straight to our question. I'm so curious because now that I talked about my hair, I feel so vain and so trivial, so small. But what affects you? Major or something small that kind of affects you, makes or breaks your day?
Lately, as I moved to Busan,
Yes.
I'm living in a studio.
Yes.
One room. So it's literally a room.
Right.
But I relatively have big windows.
Ooh.
So having lunch while opening the window is a really big thing to stay here in Busan. So having a good lunch
Right, with a view,
with
by your
the
window.
view, with the breeze. So the weather matters.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
the menu
yeah.
matters.
Menu is so important,
Menu
right?
is so important.
Okay, so what's on the menu for today? Do you know?
For today, I
what are you
think I'll
planning
have to
on
stay in the station.
Oh, you're going to be
All
busy
day,
all
yes.
day. Okay.
That's going to affect me, definitely.
Okay. Don't be down. Well, we're going to jump into some local news. Busan has introduced a supplementary budget to respond to rising fuel costs. So what's the key focus here?
Busan City has submitted a second supplementary budget worth 550.8 billion won to the City Council, aimed at addressing the impact of high oil prices. With this addition, the city's total budget for the year has increased by about 3% compared to the original plan.
That's right. So where will most of the funding go?
The budget is largely focused on sectors hit hardest by fuel costs. Support will be provided to freight trucks and village buses that rely heavily on diesel, including subsidies of up to 300,000 won per vehicle for essential items such as engine oil.
I see. Well, are there measures for other industries as well?
Yes, the city will also support coastal fishing boats that are not eligible for national funding, as well as farmers using agricultural machinery by partially offsetting rising fuel costs. In addition, more commuter buses will be deployed in industrial complexes to ease workers' daily travel.
Right. So that's for the industries. But what about for ordinary citizens?
To reduce commuting expenses, the K-Pass refund rate will be temporarily raised from 30% to as high as 83%.
Ooh.
Also, cash assistance ranging from 150,000 won to 600,000 won will be provided to households in the bottom 70% income bracket.
I see. Well, what about support for businesses and also public services?
Yes, the city is expanding financial support for small and medium-sized enterprises and extending loan repayment deadlines for hundreds of companies. It also includes funding to support public transportation operations and public health care, along with additional grants to local districts to help them implement their own fuel cost response measures.
I see. Thanks for letting us know about this one. Moving on. Well, we mentioned earlier that the Hyundai terminal was planning to relocate nearby, but I hear that there's been a setback. So what happened?
Yes, a plan to relocate the Haeundae intercity bus stop to a nearby apartment complex shopping area has been scrapped following strong opposition from residents. The operator of the bus stop had been been preparing to move both the ticket office and boarding area after its lease on the current site expired, but officially withdrew the plan.
Okay, so why did residents oppose the move?
Residents raised serious safety concerns, especially about increased bus traffic near the apartment entrance. They pointed out that frequent bus movement could put children at risk, particularly those using kindergarten and shuttle buses, and called for the plan to be canceled.
I see. Well, are there alternatives that are being considered right now?
The district office has recommended relocating the stop to an area near Chungdong Station, which is already used for intercity bus services to the capital region. Officials say it's one of the few viable locations given heavy traffic near major tourist sites like Haeundae Beach.
I see. Well, what makes that location more suitable?
The area already has transit infrastructure in place, and with minor additions like a ticketing system, it could begin operating quickly.
Yes.
Authorities also believe adjusting bus intervals in coordination with the city could help prevent congestion issues.
Well, thank you for letting us know about the delay and maybe the future plans as well. Next up, Busan is launching a project to upgrade one of its oldest industrial complexes. So tell us about this one.
That's right. Busan City is moving to transform the West Busan Smart Valley, formerly known as the Sinpyeong and Changnim Industrial Complex, into a smart industrial zone powered by advanced ICT infrastructure.
Okay.
The project was selected for a national smart green industrial complex initiative last year with a total budget of 9 billion won and is scheduled for completion by December.
What kind of technologies will be introduced here?
The city will install video-based flame detection sensors and air quality monitoring CCTV systems to handle both fire detection and environmental monitoring in real time. These systems are designed to detect early signs of fire and pinpoint locations quickly for faster response.
Yes, yes. Are there other safety features included?
Yes, a 3-directional rock fall detection system will be introduced to prepare for landslides. In addition, water level detection cameras and flood sensors will be combined to respond more effectively to various flooding scenarios.
I see. Once again, safety is of utmost concern. All right, next, this story. A voice phishing attempt was recently prevented here in Busan thanks to a bank employee. So let's break it down.
A bank employee helped stop a major voice phishing scam after becoming suspicious of a customer trying to withdraw a large amount of cash.
Okay.
A man in his 70s visited a bank branch in Sahagu district last Friday on April 10th and attempted to withdraw 75 million won.
Wow.
In cash.
That's a large amount. So, okay. So red flags going off. Alarm bells. What happened?
Well, withdrawing 75 million won at once is suspicious already.
Right.
The employee asked about the purpose, and he said he planned to invest in stocks and cryptocurrency.
Oh, no.
This was considered highly unusual, especially given the customer's age and the urgency of withdrawing such a large amount of money for cryptocurrency investment. So the employee immediately reported to the police.
Oh, so was it actually a scam?
I mean, yes. The man had received a voice phishing call from someone impersonating a financial authority.
Oh my gosh.
And he had been instructed to withdraw the money in cash, and if anyone asked about the purpose, to say that it was for investment in stocks or cryptocurrency.
Oh my goodness. So what happened at the end?
Well, thanks to the employee's quick response, the scam was prevented before any financial loss occurred. Police plan to award the employee with a certificate of appreciation for helping protect the victim.
Can we get a round of applause? I mean, 75 million. Even if it was like 75,000 won, but still. 75
Exactly,
million
yes.
Won. Oh, what a great employee. Well, thank you for ending it on a happy note today. And wherever you're having lunch, 맛점 하세요. And
Thank you.
I'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jian.
See you tomorrow.
I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It is now 7:18 on this Thursday morning. Let's talk about where it's congested. First up on Mandok-Sentum Expressway from the endpoint to Namhae Expressway, Gupo-Nakdonggang Bridge. It's also busy on Dongso Overpass from Hwangyong Ramp to Kaegum. There's traffic detected on Nakdong-Namno from Gangso Police Station to Seongsan Three-Way intersection. And the top portion of Gwangan Bridge, it's starting to slow down right now. Currently, it is 12 degrees here in Busan under clear skies. It's going to go up to 18 degrees Celsius across the nation. Early summer-like temperatures and weather still lingering. With the daytime high, it's going to go, it's so varied from anywhere between 14 degrees to 28 degrees. So that really depends on where you are. Was it 24 maybe? Yes? 14? No, it was really 14? Okay, sorry. Okay, it's not a typo. 14 to 28. So that was your traffic and weather. All right, it is time for top stories, and we have Haley. Haley, where are you?
Now you see me?
Okay.
Now you don't. Now you see me? Now you don't. Oh, man.
Yes.
Wardrobe choices, colors, not my strong suit, apparently. Not blending. Literal wallflower. I'm wearing beige for our
You're
radio
never
listeners.
A wallflower girl.
I try to look as if I am one because I definitely don't sound like one.
So I need to ask you something major, something, minor. What makes or breaks your day?
I mean, major stuff like, is it payday? When is payday? Did really payday already happen?
Did it?
Really? It's the 16th, you say. And also, the S&P 500 hit a record high. Why didn't I go in 2 months ago? All that. Just leave that be.
Okay.
It's the trivial stuff.
Yeah.
It is always the trivial stuff. Speaking of hair, I'm going the opposite way.
Yeah.
So it is allergy season. And mine's less like respiratory, but more skin. And everything irritates me.
Oh,
so
no.
right now,
What irritates you?
like the tiny hairs around my face that touch my forehead, I'm like really tempted to just like rip it out, but I'm like, I can't afford. Like I don't have that much hair left.
No.
Yeah. So it's
really?
this.
Allergies.
It's another time. But yeah, it's like, and then the thing that bothers you, like it itches, and that's all you can think about.
Right.
And then you look in the mirror, and it is like a 2 millimeter long piece of eyelash, and you're like, something. It's philosophical. Something about life. It's the tiny thing that really bothers you, but once it gets down to it, it's a half of an eyelash.
You know what makes or breaks my day? Okay. I know it's 7:21.
Oh, are you getting tea? Like, what's happening?
No. It's like bowel movement. Like that's important too.
Oh yeah.
So, to me, it is.
Isn't that what Dr. Liu always says? Like, you gotta eat well, sleep well, and go to the bathroom well.
If I went well versus like constipated for like 4 days.
Right.
Oh, that makes a difference.
Oh yeah.
So
For sure.
Sorry if you were eating. All right, let's jump into
we're
our top
real
stories.
today.
The National Assembly held its confirmation hearing for the Bank of Korea governor nominee Shin Hyun-song. So let's talk about what went down.
Right. So let's talk in more detail about what happened yesterday. So the nominee talked about where to focus. Let's get down to the business aspect of it in terms of the cost of living versus economic growth. Because right now we are at a situation where these two interests are kind of clashing.
Right.
So Shin Hyun-song said that in the case of South Korea, where an economy is very sensitive to oil prices, he would have to weigh more on keeping prices in check as the potential governor of the central bank.
Okay.
He also, though, didn't agree to some media outlets and even some politicians having labeled him as hawkish, 매파. But he also said he doesn't really believe in the dichotomy of a hawk versus a dove.
Okay.
So Shin said in terms of the country's wages, that issue of no matter how much you make or how fast your wage rises, the real estate prices are rising faster, those two not being able to catch up with each other. It is important for the central bank to prevent side effects to possible bubbles bursting and building resilience ahead of time. And regarding the current situation in the Middle East, he stated that if there is a new round of negative economic impacts, then the Bank of Korea or the BOK should use its monetary policies to keep prices in check, but also assess that South Korea's potential economic growth rate is fairly promising, especially in the long run.
I see. Well, these hearings are almost always include personal issues that may speak to the nominee's qualifications as a public official. So what issues were under scrutiny this time around?
Right, and it is not an exception this time either. So number one, his massive foreign assets. So Shin reported a total of 8.2 billion won in assets between himself, his wife, and his eldest son's names. And over half, some say about 80 to 90% under his name, were in foreign assets. So he stated that he's so far taken care of majority of these assets, meaning converting them to the Korean won and bringing it back into the country, and will continue to do so. So for reference, his wife is a U.S. citizen. They're all Korean in ethnicity, but she's a U.S. citizen. Their two children, British nationals. That's because Shin went to Oxford and was a professor at various U.S. institutions as well as the London School of Economics.
Okay, well, I hear that there have been other issues as well, though.
Right. Separately, while he was attending Oxford, there were allegations raised that he transferred to Korea University shortly from graduating from a British high school, and that may have been in violation of the university's internal regulations. So when it comes to transfers or any sort of higher education, university education, we are very sensitive in Korea.
Yes.
In terms of other sensitive issues, real estate. So he came under scrutiny for owning 3 homes in and outside of South Korea. Also for purchasing an apartment largely with the tenant's deposit. We call that a gap investment.
Right.
And that reportedly left him with a 2.2 billion won profit with the rise in the price of that apartment.
Okay, so that's him. Well, his daughter's real estate dealings, I guess, have come under fire as well.
Right, so that's been the high-profile issue recently because Reform Party lawmaker Chon Ha-ram secured this household relocation document, so the moving document, 전입신고서, to a Gangnam area apartment for under Shin's name.
Right.
But his daughter filed that she moved in there in December of 2023. That's fine. But as I said, his daughter is a British national, so she was supposed to register as a foreign national in that official document.
Okay.
Apparently, Shin used his daughter's old resident registration number, 주민등록번호, and wrote her down as a Korean national.
Okay.
So Shin also explained that apparently the family was unaware of the process to report that his daughter had renounced her Korean citizenship. But the thing is, his wife and his son, they both went through those processes. So it kind of doesn't add up that the family didn't know.
Okay.
So lawmaker Tom pointed out that this could be in violation of the Resident Registration Act.
I see. Well, what did the nominee say to all of these,
Right. So he
matters?
apologized and said it was kind of a shortfall in his oversight.
Right.
But also explained that his daughter lived with him for all of 2 weeks, that he registered as a resident because she didn't have an address in the country. But he, again, admitted to having gone through improper procedures.
But still, the parliamentary committee did not adopt a confirmation hearing report.
Right. So the finance committee ended the hearing without adopting a hearing progress report. And this is the first time that a hearing on a BOK governor ended without a report adoption since that system was introduced back in 2014.
I see. Well, thank you for going over the details of what went down. All right. Up next, I see that you have brought employment figures from last month.
Right. So let's talk about jobs. According to the Ministry of Data and Statistics, on March, employment, that marked a 2 consecutive month of increases of over 200,000 jobs. So a bit of good news there, but also a bit of bad news. That increase did not reach the younger generation. So they've seen actually a 41 consecutive month run of decreases in jobs.
Ooh.
We're talking years.
Yes. So let's first look at the overall figures.
Right, so some numbers. Data shows that in the month of March, 28.79 million people were hired. That's up by 206,000 from the same time last year.
Right.
We saw increases in hiring amongst those in their 60s and 30s. And unemployment went down by 0.1% to 3 points flat.
I see. So going back to what you said earlier about the picture not being so rosy for the younger generation.
Right. So now we're looking at the 15 to 29 group. Number of those who are hired in that group fell by 0.9%. Again, 41st month of declines.
Okay.
The ministry noted that decreases in the service industry, the telecommunications industry, and manufacturing sectors contributed to this. Also, there's this preference for experienced workers, even in new positions,
Right.
and also decrease in 공채, these mass recruitments that contribute to this phenomenon.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's break it down by sectors.
Interestingly, we did see a first downturn in wholesale and retail hiring. This is apparently due to some structural changes in the industry, including automation, kiosks, and also online shopping,
Right.
decreasing the need for in-store clerks. Also, lodging and restaurant industry saw a fifth consecutive month of decreases. Manufacturing jobs went down for the 21st month, construction for its 23rd month. We also saw the fourth consecutive month of job decreases in the IT sector, and that could be the impact of AI, especially in the sort of the beginner to entry level to medium positions.
Sure.
As for the impact of the Middle East conflict, it is March numbers, and the conflict started on February 28th. So the ministry said that it doesn't seem that March numbers showed any concrete impacts.
All I heard were negatives.
Decreases.
and
Yeah.
drops and fewer jobs. Okay. Well, earlier this week, there was this gas explosion in Cheongju, and now there are reports that this could have been prevented.
May have. So it is that potentially human-caused
Okay.
disaster again. So a gas explosion happened at a restaurant inside a commercial building in Cheongju early mornings on Monday.
Yes.
16 people were hurt with 363 cases of property damage reported. And the photos show cars flipped over,
Right.
windows broken, chaos. So we're talking about 179 apartments, 113 standalone homes, 37 stores, and 34 vehicles.
Wow.
And 40 people, because of this, are still out of their respective homes. And now, according to Cheongju City and the police, they did receive a report of a possible gas leak, a smell the day before the explosion.
Really? So I'm curious, what did the report say?
Right, so the owner of the restaurant where the gas explosion did happen, they called in saying that they smelled gas.
Okay.
So the gas company visited the restaurant to check it out, but apparently reported no abnormalities. But seeing as what happened a day later,
Okay.
we don't know. Also, circumstances, the restaurant had just finished construction and reopened on Sunday. The explosion happened early Monday morning. So the police say that they're waiting on a report by the National Forensic Service, but depending on the circumstances, that could take up to 1 month. The fire department did confirm that the main valve on the LP gas container that was left open.
Right.
And therefore, they've requested a detailed inspection to check on whether the gas leak may have come from that or some malfunctions with the hose.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, that's widespread, though, all the
Right.
figures you gave us. Well, moving on, we reported on multiple cases of personal information breaches last year, this year as well, and it seems the companies have paid, I guess, for their deeds or misdeeds. So
I mean, they've paid money or they've been charged, but is that enough? Will it ever be enough? So we're talking about the Personal Information Protection Commission, the PIPC. Last year imposed 158 billion won for personal information breaches. That figure, a jump of 100 times in the last 4 years.
Yes. Well, tell us about the cases.
Well, the reason is because there's been just a lot more of these breaches. The PIPC data for 2021 to 2025 released by People Power Party lawmaker Lee Yang-soo. The institution took action against 508 cases across 4 years, but the figure jumped from 60 in 2021 to 115 in 2025. And when we're looking at number of specific cases breached,
Right.
massive. Penalties went from therefore 1.5 billion won in the year 21 to 157.8 billion won last year, that 100-fold jump.
Wow.
The big reason, SK Telecom, that USIM breach that led to 134.8 billion won, accounting for almost all of the penalties. But other major violators who are at the top of the list were Meta, a parent company of Facebook and Instagram, Louis Vuitton Korea, Kakao, and Christian Dior.
Oh,
Interesting
okay.
mix.
Interesting. I was going to say. But while that, was a hacking incident, there were also some major causes of other types of breaches,
Because
right?
when we think about personal information data breaches,
Right.
we think about these like hackers from outside. But for both public institutions and private companies, internal problems were actually the bigger problem.
Okay.
Internal mistakes or negligence, 업무 과실. So again, are these companies doing enough? Are they paying enough?
I don't know. Good question, though. All right, we need the latest on what's happening between the U.S. and Iran.
Right, so indirect talks are ongoing between the United States and Iran to try to extend that ceasefire, which is due to expire on April 22nd.
Okay.
Pakistan's army chief, who's been playing mediator, he has arrived in Tehran to negotiate. Sources in Tehran say that Iran's demanding an end to Israeli attacks on Lebanon as a precondition for round 2 of the talks.
Right.
And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said a second round of negotiations would very likely be held in Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan, again. President Trump yesterday, Korea time, he kind of boosted expectations when he told a reporter that, quote, "You're going to be watching something amazing for 2 days ahead."
Oh, what else has been going on, though?
Right, so kind of going to elsewhere in the world, French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, they're going to co-host a multilateral video conference on the Strait of Hormuz. That'll take place Friday local time. South Korea will attend.
Okay.
This is for countries who are ready to contribute to a purely defensive call to discuss plans on recovering the freedom of navigation on Hormuz.
Yes.
The U.S. will not attend. China and India have been invited, but it's unclear if they are coming to this video conference.
I see. All right. Now, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, issued a warning about the impact of the Iran war and what it could do to the global economy.
Right, so we're beginning and ending with the economy because that is the top story.
Yes.
So right now, spring meetings of the IMF, but also the World Bank are happening in Washington, D.C., and the IMF warned that a further escalation in the war in Iran could trigger a global recession.
Yes.
Could. Further. Those are the key points.
Sure.
In terms of projections, the IMF projected South Korea's economic growth will be at 1.9% this year, same as its projection from before the war in Iran. So that was not bad news.
Right.
However, for global economic growth projected at 3.1%, that is 0.2 points lower than its projections from before the war.
Okay.
But it is important to note that this is if production and it continues on. And experts do hope that things will normalize by the middle of the year.
Well, I do have to ask, what if it doesn't?
Right. So in the worst severe case scenario involving
Yes.
a drawn-out war, experts are saying that we could face a close call for a global recession, one that we haven't seen since the 80s. So while warning countries worldwide could face slower growth and higher inflation, the IMF said net energy importers and developing nations would face the biggest hit.
All right. Well, the economy, it is what it is. Thank you for all the news, and we'll check in with you once again in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
Right. So, waivers, some of you may have missed the opening. In the opening, I did already talk about the fact that today marks the 12th anniversary of the Sewol ferry tragedy. And so the fact that you, the waivers, especially on our YouTube page, that you are talking about it and commemorating it. And I think that is a very healthy thing that we're remembering so that we can prevent disasters like that in the future. Let's take a song break. This is Soup by 최유리.
난 저기 숲이 돼볼게 너는 자그마키만 한 언덕 위를 오르며 날 바라볼래 나의 작은 마음 한 구석이어도 돼 길을 더 보일게 나를 베어도 돼 날 지나치지 마 날 보아줘 나는 널 들을게 이제 말해도 돼 날 보며
right, it's time for Ask Dr. Ryu, and that means Dr. Ryu Sang-hyo is with us. Hello.
Thank you for the compliments because I heard this. You're complimenting to me. Thank you so much.
But my words were sincere because, like, I always see you, typing away even after a segment, responding to people who may have questions, and I feel like he really doesn't have to do that. It's not part of, the protocol or the role, but you go that extra mile for us. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, because the rewards I got from all those waivers, it made my day.
Oh, really?
Really fantastic.
Yay.
And then, okay, let's move on to the topic.
Yes.
Not the topic. What's
the text topic?
Text topic.
Text topic. Okay. So here we go. Something big or something small that makes your day or breaks your day.
Okay, to be honest with you, it might be a little bit gloomy.
Yes.
But it might be a bit upbeating. Most of what shapes my day comes from my patients.
Oh, your patients.
Yes. As a physician, I've seen many patients. Some patients' family members died. And also, I had to deal with some patients with some serious disease. And I have to diagnose them with some serious disease. And also, in our brain, we have a mirror neuron that allows us to feel, understand the emotion of others. Because of that, we have some kind of a deeply emotionally empathizing with them. So sometimes those kind of time does me in. But I get also rewards, like I said, when patients get better. Yes. It feels me really, I'm being a very crucial part in their life.
You are, though. You are. You're making a difference.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I've been through many difficulties throughout my life because I went through several surgeries. And also, my parents got separated. And also, I had some kind of early childhood trauma, things like that. So, I use my pain to help other people. And also, what makes me best during in a day is my family. Especially my son and my wife and my family. And, nothing beats my family's...
of course.
Yes, Joey. Playing with my son.
It's so much so you injured your shoulder. You told us off air, but you're a great dad. So thank you for answering a text topic. Okay. And now we got to get into the final segment for the season for Ask Dr. Ryu. Will Dr. Ryu be back next week? I don't know. You're going to have to tune in to find out. But what's our topic for today?
Okay. I feel really relieved because it's our final topic. Okay.
Final episode, okay.
Okay. Today's topic is seasonal fatigue.
Oh, okay. Seasonal fatigue.
춘곤증. Yeah, things like that. At this time of year, we are suffering from 춘곤증 because it's from our brain. As a neurologist.
Yes.
It's actually a biological tug of war.
So we're not imagining it. Like, yesterday, I think our producer and I, we were mentioning like the spring fatigue. 자꾸 약간 깔아지는 느낌이 있어요, 조금.
It's not psychological.
Okay.
It's neurological. And it's physiological. It totally makes sense.
Yes.
Because in our brain, we have a hypothalamus, which is 시상하부. That's our thermostat. So when temperature drops 10 Celsius degree in the morning, at night, but during the day it goes up to 20 Celsius. The temperature gap is really wide at this time of year. So when temperature drops, our brain thinks like that. Oh, temperature drops. We have to secure our core body temperature. In that case, brain sends signal to our body. We have to constrict blood vessels in our extremities.
Okay.
And then when temperature goes up, brain thinks that, we have sufficient amount of energy in our core body. So we need to dilate our blood vessels in our four extremities. Okay. So this switching consumes massive amount of metabolic energy, which is why you feel exhausted. Even if you have an exercised.
Right.
Yeah. It puts more pressure on our brain shoulder.
Okay. So now we know.
Okay.
So I hear that you want to have like a kind of like a, since it's our final segment for this season, like
Yes.
a quiz kind of thing.
Okay, I want to spice things up a little bit.
Okay.
That's why I prepare tons of true or false questions
Ooh, I like.
for our listeners and for you, Catherine.
Okay. So waivers, play along if you're listening or watching
Okay.
us. So Dr. Du is going to throw out a question or a statement, and then we have to say true
Yeah.
or false, right?
That's
how
right.
it goes. Okay, here we go.
That's right. First question, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, drinking hot coffee is the best way to warm up your body during a chilly Busan morning.
Oh, true.
Oh, it's not?
It's false?
It's false, actually.
Oh, really?
Ah.
I love holding the cup.
Holding the cup is better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
It's partially true, but mostly it's false.
Oh, the drinking is not true.
Because of the caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah, drinking decaffeinated coffee is fine.
Okay.
And also, if you have some kind of gene that gives you more power to digest or degrade the caffeine you consume.
Okay.
But some people, like me, are very caffeine sensitive.
Yes.
And in that case, caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, which means constrict our blood vessels.
Okay.
And also, it has some kind of a diuretic effect.
Yes.
So it can actually lead to faster heat loss and dehydration.
I see.
So drinking coffee is hot drinking coffee. You know,
hot cup of coffee.
Koreans like to eat cold iced coffee in the middle of
winter, right?
In winter,
Right.
Yeah. But if you were drink coffee, try to drink a lot of water at the same time.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, next. You're going to give us what's number 2?
Okay, you are more likely to have a stroke or cardiovascular events when temperature drops suddenly.
I think it's true?
Yes, it's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm second guessing myself now. Okay.
Yeah, you almost like a doctor. Yes, cold weather causes blood vessel constrict.
Okay.
So it blocks our blood supply.
Right.
That's why people tend to have stroke or a heart attack at this time of year, especially at the crack of dawn.
Oh, even like throughout the day.
Yes,
during
right.
the coldest time of the day.
That's right.
Ooh.
So there's a critical time zone where emergency room is bombarded with lots of heart attack patients. It's especially 5 a.m. around the time.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time, biological clock. Yes, clock secretes some kind of a cortisol at this time of year. That's why. If you were to go outside, do a morning jog, or in that case,
Yes.
please don't forget to bundle up yourself.
Okay, so that's really important, especially around 5 a.m. That's when we are getting ready.
Yeah.
피디님 우리 좀 어떻게 해봐요. 맞아요. We need a 생명수당.
생명수당 reminds me of some kind of corny Korean joke. I'm gonna tell you later.
Okay. What's our next question?
Next question is big temperature swings in spring can lower your immunity and make you more likely to catch a cold.
I think this is a trick question.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think people are going to say true. It sounds true, right? But in the back of my head, it's like, this is a trick question. No?
Oh, it's true.
Oh, it's true.
It's true.
I'm double thinking myself to death here now. Okay. Oh, it's true. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, there's a song, Bob Dylan, Don't Think Twice.
Yeah. I was thinking just too much into it. Okay. True.
Yeah, sudden changes stress the body.
Okay.
And when you're stressed out, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in.
Okay.
Sympathetic is 교감신경. 교감신경 responsible for flight or fight response.
Yeah.
Remember when you're really anxious? Your body feels like your heart is pounding.
Yes.
You're sweating.
Right.
And then your mouth gets dry.
Dry, right.
Yeah. So dryness makes it easier for viruses to enter. That's why you are likely to catch a cold.
I think we're going to do maybe 1 more, 2 more. Let's squeeze them in, and then we got to get to whatever else you have for us. So,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Boxing box breathing, I would call it.
What's box breathing?
Yeah, it's really important. Inhale for 3 seconds and hold 2 seconds and exhale 6 seconds can help reduce stress caused by weather changes or busy spring schedules.
I'm going to say true because you just told us to do it. Nope.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's physiologically true because when you inhale, increases our heart rate.
Okay.
Because when you inhale, physiologically, it causes negative pressure in our chest. It increases our blood heart pumping a little. It decreases our blood pressure a little lower.
Yes.
And sympathetic nervous system is about to kick in, and then when you hold your breath and exhale for longer time,
yes,
it decreases our heart rate because in that case, parasympathetic kicks in.
Okay.
So the key point is inhale for 3
Can we try it right now?
Yeah, we
with
can
all
try
the
it
waivers?
right now.
Okay,
yes.
here we go.
Inhale for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And hold your breath for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. It takes some time. So I'm going to give you some tips for this one.
Yes.
Inhale for just 3 seconds and hold it for 2, and then exhale, breathe out through a straw.
A straw. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it 이게 늦게 천천히 slowly you get to you have no choice but to exhale slowly. It's not psychological. It's a physical. It's neurological. It just totally makes sense. It works on your body.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we loved it. People were joining in. People are saying yoga class with Lucem, etc. So to wrap up our segment for for the season, Dr. Liu is leaving us. But he's coming back next week. I don't want to, tease our waivers too much. So what do you want to leave our waivers with as we say goodbye to this season?
Okay, this season, I'm totally overwhelmed.
Yes.
And listen to your biological clock.
Okay.
And not just listen to your alarm clock. And don't forget to listen to this morning wave, Busan BEFM.
최고십니다.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Liu will be coming back next week, right? But I'm not going to tell you which day. He's coming on a different day, so you're going to have to tune in to find out and find Dr. Liu. So thank you so much once again for a wonderful season.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, everybody, this was Dr. Liu Sang-hyo. And we are going to get to our final song for hour number 1. This is My Universe by Coldplay and BTS.
Look up at you. When the morning comes, I watch you rise. There's a paradise they couldn't capture. That bright infinity inside your eyes. 매일 밤 내게 날아가. 꿈이란 것도 잊은 채 난 웃으며 너를 만나. Never ending forever, baby. You are my universe, and I just wanna put you first. You are my universe, and you are right inside. 어둠이 내겐 더 변했었지. 길어진 그림자 속에서. And the thought that we can't be together because we come from different sides. You are my universe, and I just wanna put you first. You are my universe, and you are right inside. My universe, my universe, my universe. 세상을 만들어주는 girl 너는 내 별이자 나의 우주니까 지금 이 시련도 결국엔 잠시니까 너는 언제까지나 지금처럼 밝게만 빛나줘 우리는 너를 따라 이긴 밤을 수놓아 너와 함께 날아가 When I'm without you I'm crazy 자 어서 내 손을 잡아 We are made of each other baby You are my universe and I just
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
An all-new BEFM is coming to you with a new season on April 20th. Meet the all-new For My Busan every day from 4 to 6 p.m. Join our Talk Avengers for their chats, a playlist created by you, the listeners, and the producer on the ground to meet the people of Busan. See you at 4 p.m.
주님!
A new and improved All-Star English with a new guest and new contents every week.
더 다양해진 이야기, 신선해진 구성으로 여러분의 일상에 즐거움을 더해드립니다. 끼룩!
BFM's new spring season comes to full bloom on April 20th. Fill your day with BEFM. For details, check out the BFM website.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고, 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. It's 8 o'clock, and this is Spotlight News. South Korea secures 273 million barrels of crude oil. South Korea secured 273 million barrels of crude oil by the end of this year from 4 nations of the Middle East, along with 2.1 million tons of naphtha. That's according to Presidential Chief of Staff Kang Hoon-sik. Kang, who returned from his 8-day trip to Oman, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kazakhstan, said that the amount of crude oil secured is sufficient to sustain the economy for more than 3 months, and the naphtha enough for about a month's supply. The chief of staff added that the country will continue its current policy on energy supplies, including the 2- and 5-day driving systems, given the uncertainties in the Middle East situation. South Korea has no plans to pay Iran for passage through Horsmu즈. South Korea has no plans to pay Iran to get its stranded ships out of the Strait of Horsmu즈, nor intentions to take any action against the U.S. blockade of the shipping lane, said Foreign Minister Cho Hyun yesterday. Cho confirmed that the government has shared data on a ship stranded in the strait, not only with Iran, but with the U.S. and the Gulf nations as well. In the meantime, the Trade Ministry said that the government will cover additional shipping costs that crude importers have to bear when importing alternative supplies from regions other than the Middle East. He calls for deregulation in new businesses. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday called for removing unnecessary and outdated regulations to promote new businesses while urging efforts to ensure global competitiveness. He made the remarks at an inaugural meeting of the Presidential Committee on Rationalizing Regulations, adding that the country needs to eliminate unnecessary and inefficient regulations in accordance with global standards. He said negative style regulation, a system in which activities are generally permitted unless explicitly prohibited by law, is essential to spur innovation in the face of rapidly evolving technologies. National Assembly fails to adopt confirmation report for BOK nominee. The ruling and opposition parties remain divided over the Bank of Korea governor nominee Shin Hyun-song, with the Strategy and Finance Committee ending its session without adopting a confirmation hearing report. Shin, during the session, apologized for causing controversy over allegation related to his family's nationalities, property holdings, and other personal matters. Addressing that his financial portfolio was heavily weighted toward foreign assets, Shin Hyun-song said that he has sold a significant portion of his foreign currency denominated financial assets. U.S. says ongoing talks on Iran ceasefire productive. The White House said that reports that the U.S. has formally asked Iran to extend the 2-week ceasefire are not true, but that the conversations are productive and ongoing. Meanwhile, the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports is continuing. U.S. Central Command has said it intercepted an Iranian-flagged cargo vessel that tried to evade the blockade. Earlier, Iran's military threatened shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Sea of Oman, and the Red Sea if the U.S. naval blockade continues, adding it will consider a continuation of the blockade a violation of the ceasefire. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for our special interview. Artemis 2 lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida on April 1st, marking the first crewed mission to travel toward the moon in more than 50 years. And the 4 astronauts we're talking about, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen journeyed farther from Earth than any human since the Apollo era. And after a historic 10-day mission, the crew safely returned to Earth with what NASA describes as a textbook splashdown, landing in the Pacific Ocean at around 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. And for many, it's not just the end of a mission, but the beginning of a new era in space exploration. So today, we're joined by a key member of the Artemis 2 team to talk about what this mission means and what comes next. Joining us once again is Dr. Kelsey Young, lunar science lead for NASA's Artemis 2 mission. Hi, congratulations. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Even just hearing you give that intro gave me chills all up my arms all over again.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking the same thing. I was reading it. I'm like, I'm not even part of your crew. But I had chills. It was so amazing, so amazing. So first off, if you can tell us once again the main purpose of the Artemis 2 mission for listeners who may not be familiar with what exactly happened.
Artemis 2 I can say was now because it's already happened. But that was strange.
Yes.
Artemis 2 was the first crewed flight of the Orion vehicle. Mm-hmm. It was also the first time that humans launched on the SLS rocket, which delivered Orion safely, off the surface of our planet. And there were a lot of test objectives to characterize kind of how the vehicle handled, because it's going to be used as kind of a critical part of, our future Artemis missions.
Right.
But I can't give an overview of the mission without saying, of course, the destination of Artemis 2 was the moon. The astronauts performed a several-hour flyby of the lunar far side on their way to, testing out the vehicle and understanding how it performs not just in low Earth orbit, but also when it gets all the way to the moon.
Yes. So that was in a nutshell. But in terms of what the crew actually did during this 10/11-day mission, what did they do?
Oh my gosh, they were very, very busy. Take it from somebody who was in mission control for the majority of the mission. It was a very packed schedule. There was a whole number of flight test objectives that, again, were to characterize the vehicle, characterize systems on the vehicle, characterize kind of habitability in the crew volume. They exercised. They kind of tested out an exercise device that we hope will be useful on longer term missions, both to the moon and Mars. There were a number of science payloads, inside the vehicle. So they were, maintaining and servicing those payloads and making sure that they were operating, properly. And then, of course, there was all of the activities around the lunar flyby, which included, flyby day itself, but also a number of activities on other days to both get them ready for and debrief from Moon Day.
Oh, wow. And I'm sure that's just some of what they did. I'm also curious, though, because you mentioned you were there, watching everything happening. So how does it work? I'm sure you have shifts that they let you sleep and whatnot, but was it like just staying up at different hours? Were there different shifts? Were there people, on call 24 hours?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question.
Okay.
So the flight control team, which is the team that is based, in mission control, that's supporting our crews in space, that same mission control facility down at the Johnson Space Center, which is our NASA facility in Houston, Texas, they have supported human spaceflight missions all the way back since the very first NASA human spaceflight. So it's just every time I walk in that building, every single time, even after years of working there, I just absolutely feel so honored to be there. So just like we do with the International Space Station, the Artemis Flight Control Team operates on 3 shifts a day. And so you're assigned to one shift. That primary shift is 8 hours, but of course you have time on either side to hand over from the person before and the person after you.
Right.
So there is definitely 24/7 support. And it's a kind of well-oiled machine from, so many years of operating International Space Station that we were able to take a lot of those lessons about, the flight control side and apply them to Artemis.
Thanks for sharing that. Now I want to ask you, Dr. Young, what you thought were like the most memorable moments for the crew during this journey.
Oh my gosh, there were so many. When I was on my plane back flying home after the mission, I just opened, a document on my computer and I just started typing just like memories, just like little thoughts, not full sentences or paragraphs, just kind of like little blurbs. I think the human, like from just the human element, like watching, as we all were on planet Earth, watching their journey. I mean, I think launch and splashdown, obviously represented the beginning and end of the mission, but also, were these key pivotal, steps that had risk, right? And that our teams on the ground had worked so hard to execute safely. And so watching those moments, just really hit me in a positive and emotional way. But as the science lead, the lunar science lead for this mission, I had thought before the mission about what I was most excited about, and it really was hearing the crew give the verbal descriptions, like describe what they were seeing of the actual moon out their actual window on flyby day after practicing for so long on in simulators and with visualizations. And I was right to anticipate that for myself, because it was absolutely amazing listening to the science detail, the science richness in their descriptions and what they were doing. It's going to stay with me for a long time.
Wow. In terms of, I forgot what I was going to ask you. I was just so into what you were saying. Okay. So in terms of looking at past lunar missions like Apollo 8, how does Artemis 2 fit into the broader story of human exploration and our fascination with the moon?
I really love that question and that framing, because Apollo 8 is one of my most favorite Apollo missions. I so many on planet Earth are Apollo nerds. And Apollo 8 was really inspirational to, of course, I was not alive at the time, but inspirational to read about. And I've done a bunch of reading of not just astronaut accounts, but of flight control team accounts of it. I've also read the reports that the science team generated, during Apollo 8 or after Apollo 8. And Apollo 8 was the first time ever in human history that people, traveled around the other side of the moon and came back. It was a lot of firsts. They were the first human beings ever to lose sight of our own planet. Can you just imagine how that must have felt? I mean,
so scary.
Incredible. And for Artemis, it's the first crewed flight of Orion, but it's also the same thing. In this Artemis generation of solar system and lunar exploration, it was the first time that human beings were doing something incredible. And, I think a fun fact that really resonated with the crew, and I know our science team took it seriously, is some parts of the far side of the moon, or the side of the moon that always faces away from our planet, have never been seen before, ever, by human eyes. Because when Apollo missions flew, it wasn't in sunlight. It was not illuminated. It was in full darkness. So even though they were on on the far side of the moon, they couldn't see it. So our crew actually saw some sections of the lunar far side for the very, very first time. They were true explorers, just like Apollo 8. And, I know they carried actually mementos from Jim Lovell, who was one of the Apollo 8 astronauts, on their flight with them. And they understood the significance, and so did all of us on the ground.
Wow. I also want to talk about this 40-minute communications blackout. I can't even imagine, as a layperson, how that would go. But what happens, or what happened during that moment, and why is this important?
Yeah, it's absolutely, first of all, the important thing is it's very expected.
Right.
So that helps with some of the nerves, just because you can't hear them, that's, totally how it's supposed to go. And it's essentially, the explanation for it is shockingly simple. It's that in order to talk to Earth, Orion, the capsule, needs to see the Earth. And so that's how the communication systems work on the vehicle, where they actually talk to ground stations here on our planet. And the moon was blocking their view. They could not see the Earth from the Orion spacecraft. So that 40 period was the time when, even if Orion had been trying to talk to Earth wouldn't have been able to hear them, because the moon was right in the way. So we knew to prepare for it. We practiced it. Frankly, my biggest emotion about it was jealousy, because I knew what great views they had during those 40 minutes.
That's for you, but for the rest of us, like, because we don't know. And when we hear about stuff like this, we're like, what's going on? But it's all planned. Everybody knew ahead of time. So I'm also curious as to, we always focus on the launch, it seems, as lay people in the media. Of course, covering the splashdown as well. But since you're an expert, I don't want to compare what's more dangerous. But I mean, isn't it just as dangerous re-entering, coming down and splashing down?
Yes, I mean, the entire mission, of course, carries risk, of course,
yes.
But coming back from the moon, which is obviously a several-day trip away,
right.
and re-entering through the Earth's atmosphere,
right.
Deploying the parachutes and then, landing safely in the Pacific Ocean, that is definitely one of the most, if not the most riskiest phase of the mission.
Sure.
The good news is I didn't witness the recovery team, the team that actually is on the ship,
right.
recovering the vehicle. I did see coverage of their simulations, but they ran a ton of practice runs over and over and over again. And in flight control and mission control in Houston, that flight control team was so prepared to execute that choreography from the ground. And the crew practiced it over and over and over again. And it's honestly, if you ask me to give one feeling about this entire Artemis 2 experience, from my perspective, it would be gratitude. I am so grateful to be a part of this team and watching how those, the splashdown and recovery teams, as well as the launch teams, as well as the entire flight control team across the entire mission, prepared, and how much of ourselves we, fully devoted to this mission. I just have so much gratitude to be a part of a team that is that dedicated and that prepared. And although it was a risky phase, we did absolutely everything we could as a team, as a broader team, to prepare for that.
Dr. Young, can I ask you a personal question? I'm so curious
Please.
as to how you became interested in science, and in particular in what you're doing right now, because, we always want to encourage, boys, but also especially girls when it comes to science and going into these types of fields. So if I may ask, what, piqued your interest?
No, I never get sick of talking about that. In fact, how much time do you have? No, I'll try to keep it concise.
Okay.
I think for me personally, I got into science and ultimately NASA and human spaceflight through geology, through rocks, looking at rocks. I was a kid who collected rocks outside, who spent a lot of time outside. I was super fortunate to go on hiking trips with my family growing up. And when I went to, university and found that this thing that I had thought was just like a fun hobby when I was out, playing outside,
right.
was actually a career that I could, really pursue. I knew I wanted to do geology. It's when I found kind of like the human exploration, space exploration part of it that I fell in love. I mean, this is my passion. I know it's where I'm meant to be. And that would actually be my advice to the next generation looking to find their way, right? To find their path is don't, and again, one person's opinion, but don't do something because you think you should to get you to an end goal, right? Do something because you love it and you are passionate about it. And not everything you do on the journey to that end goal will be enjoyable, right? Of course, I had hard times just like everybody else. But if you're doing it because you love it and you're really passionate about it, then those hard things, they're still hard, but you feel, committed to your path. And so, here I get a lot of questions about, how can I go into space exploration, whether it be NASA or a commercial partner or an international partner? And the answer is, it just doesn't take just engineers, right? It doesn't take just scientists. It takes engineers, scientists, people who like operations, people who work in business, right? Because we have to work on contracts and procurement, artists, photographers. It takes people who are interested in communicating to the public. And so it really does take all kinds specifically to be in the field that I am in. But my advice to somebody listening at home who doesn't know their path and doesn't know what they want their end goal, it would be just, commit yourself to the things that when you wake up in the morning, make you feel fulfilled, make you feel like you're where you're supposed to be.
Thank you for answering that question. And as we wrap up, our final question for you is this. What are you most excited about as NASA prepares for future missions?
Oh my gosh. I think a simple answer, which is probably not what you're looking for, is more.
Just more.
I'm looking forward to I think just this short duration mission, right? We had, a 7-hour roughly lunar flyby. Taught us so much scientifically about what we can do in the future. It taught us how to function as a science team in this Artemis generation of human spaceflight. And I just can't wait to continue to learn lessons as a science team and how to maximize science return from these missions, but also about the moon itself and the entire solar system, including our own planet. And so I'm just really excited to keep that discovery, that innovation, that exploration going. And for anybody who followed the mission at all from home, you may have seen a term called moon joy, which sort of grew to encapsulate just the passion and excitement that everybody had around the world watching this mission from home. And so I can't wait for more moon joy. It was so unifying and so inspiring and so educational. And we just want to, keep doing that and keep pushing human beings and the sense of exploration out to understand the moon.
Oh, well, thank you so much for this interview. Once again, as a member of the team, congratulations. And we look forward to our next interview. Dr. Young, thank you.
Thank you. I'll come back anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Everybody, this was Dr. Kelsey Young. We talked about the Artemis 2, exploring the moon and beyond, because there are future Artemis missions that we, of course, are going to cover. So thanks to her once again. This was our special interview. I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic update. First up, there's an accident on Pansong-lo going from Alak intersection to Pansong. And there's another accident. This one's on Beonyeong-lo coming into the city at the Wondong ramp. It's congested on Chungnyeol-daero from Minam to Daesung intersection. It's also busy on Jungwang-daero from City Hall to Yangjong intersection. It's currently 13 degrees here in Busan. It's going to go up to 18. Across the nation, it might be really warm, depending on where you are, though, because in some areas, it's only going to go up to 14. But are you ready for this? You might have temperature a high of 28 today. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Waga tea time. Haley's back.
Hello. Although I would have been happy if you just cut me and we listened to Dr. Young. What an inspiration.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I there were so many other questions, but I was like...
And I know we throw words around like space exploration and that's just almost used as a proper noun, but yeah, they are explorers.
Right.
Right.
Oh, so amazing.
All right. Incredible.
Well, this story that we're going to talk about, I talked about this high school senior who allegedly stabbed his teacher, and now let's expand this to the state of violence against teachers.
All right, so taking a bit of a darker turn, the police, they have requested an arrest warrant into that particular high school senior for attempted murder charges. So we'll keep you updated.
Yes.
This is, of course, an extreme case. Hopefully a singular one, the one that we won't see again. But violence against teachers, that has been ongoing.
Yes.
So according to the Korean Teachers and Educators Workers Union, they reported on the state of teachers' mental health from 2024. That's the latest data we have, surveying over 1,900 teachers. 20.6% said they've been assaulted or threatened by students or parents. And that's based on results from the previous year. The vast majority of those who were threatened, they were by students. So 68% said they've been verbally assaulted, harassed or assaulted. The figure vastly higher for female teachers at 70% versus 53% for male teachers. Over 15% also reported sexual harassment or unwanted sexual attention. Again, that figure was double for female teachers versus male teachers. This is, though, vastly higher for teachers than any other job, really.
Yes.
So on average, the verbal harassment rate, average for all jobs, 3 to 6%. Take that to 68%. That is tenfold more. 0.5% for physical assault, 20% for teachers, and under 1% for sexual harassment or unwanted attention.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know. The numbers were much higher than I expected. In some cases, it's the teachers who get reported on during these altercations.
So it's the teachers who get in trouble or are threatened to. So one case in Ulsan Middle School, a student apparently threw a ball at a classmate during PE. The teacher grabbed the student by both hands because that student was kind of acting out, asked, "Why are you so angry?" He, the student, headbutted the teacher in the chest several times, trying to break free. It was the student who later reported the teacher for child abuse, for emotional harassment, for grabbing both of his hands.
Restraining him, though.
As he threw a ball at another person's head. But this is just one of the many cases that the teachers union reported. They also say that the reporting rate of teachers reporting cases of violence by students is vastly underreported because, well, of fear for complaints or for various reasons.
Yes. So why is this happening so frequently?
Well, an official from the teachers union said there's been this change in perception ever since the teachers evaluation system was implemented of seeing teachers as service providers.
Right.
Which, are they? No,
Are they,
they're
though?
educators.
Right.
So that puts this mindset of service provider versus consumer or customer. And for some, I know it's not all, but for some, the customer is king kind of a mentality. And that leads to these immediate civil complaints. And this is a systematic problem as well because violence between students, that gets written into your transcript, your student records.
Right.
Violence against teachers, they don't.
They don't?
They don't.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry with that. What? Really?
So
interesting. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
We know that the U.S. and Israel are close allies, but new reports reveal just how close they may be.
Right. So Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Trump administration apparently reports to him every day about the ongoing war in Iran.
Yes.
So this comment came during a cabinet meeting on Monday local time. That was right after, if you put that into context, the U.S.-Iran talks fell through in Pakistan.
Right.
So during that meeting, Netanyahu said that he spoke with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on Sunday, who apparently called Netanyahu from his plane ride back from Islamabad. So almost an immediate, quote, report to him in detail as the administration does every day about the development of the negotiations. In this case, the explosion, in Netanyahu's words, in the negotiations.
Yes, and this is raising questions about Israel's involvement in those negotiations.
Right. So Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, claims that the two sides, U.S. and Israel, almost had a deal, but then the U.S. suddenly changed its approach at a very decisive point. So then remarks by Netanyahu has incited criticism within the U.S. too. So referring to our expert interview from yesterday, even a lot of the MAGA base is against this war. And Democratic Congressman Mark Pocan criticized that Americans have to think about what it means that the Trump administration is making daily reports to Netanyahu instead of the U.S. Congress or the American people.
A pointed comment. All right. We're going to move to our final story. I hear that you have a breakdown of what people of different ages look for when they're looking for a home.
So kind of connected loosely to our text topic, what makes or breaks your living environment for you? For me, it's noise. My little dinosaur that lives upstairs is a loud teenager who's real angry about going to 학원. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Because she screams it to her mom and I can, well, to me too by extension. And I'm like,
what did she say? Let's get the tea. Seriously?
Like, just go.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyways.
We digress.
So this is according to criteria according to 당근 Real Estate, which analyzed reviews of its customers. So people in their 20s and 30s, parking, natural lighting, 채광. That 남향 is real important for a reason.
Okay.
Noise or the common factors. But those in their 20s mentioned 벌레. bugs, dare I say cockroaches, 파선생, 11 times the response by those in their 60s. Is it because do you not fear bugs when you're in your 60s? Probably, I don't know. Ask me later in whatever years. But probably people in their 20s are living in the more bug or cockroach prone housing compared to older generations. Those in their 30s mentioned noise as a top factor. 40s, interesting shift. Parking, but also transportation, school districts. So kids become your priority. But then once your kids get older and hopefully out of there, not me, convenience for people in their 50s and 60s.
Yes.
So they named transportation as top priority. For the elderly, though, air quality was in second place, along with places to exercise and access to medical care.
Oh, so very different. Okay. Well, speaking of homes and cleanliness, Korea is apparently getting some attention over its cleanliness. I hope it's a good one.
It is K-hygiene is a buzzword. So UK outlet Daily Mail introduced Korea as one of the cleanest countries in the world. Levels of cleanliness may differ Korean to Korean, I have to say. But they focus on gadgets like, those automatic 음수통, 자동 음수통, the food waste bins, and they can block smells, the UV sterilizers for knives and cutting boards, and the sterilized shoe cabinets that can eliminate the smells. So some are seeing this concept of solving hygiene through technology, which we might be very used to. Even the UV sterilizers, you see them in basically any old restaurant for the cups and everything. But it is perceived as a very fresh revelation.
Yes.
It also, the Daily Mail, provided background of this poverty and unhygienic conditions in the 50s, right after the war, but how strict government regulations and institutions changed the customs, even to the regulation trash bags that we've been so talking about.
Yes.
Also bans on bringing food and drinks onto public transportation. And even on social media, you see things like Korean cleaning and Korean cleaning products buzzing.
Interesting. K-hygiene. All right. Well, we are going to call it a wrap for today, but we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
Well, we're going to take a little breather here. This is 우주를 건너 by 백예린.
혼자서 널 기다릴 때면 나 혼자 다른 액상에 있는 듯해 여기서 네가 있는 곳까지 얼마나 오래 걸릴지 난 궁금해 상상이 안 돼 내게 좀 더 빨리 와줘 그대가 없는 이곳은 내게는 너무 캄캄해 나 여기서 두 발 벌려 그대를 안아줄 준비가 돼 있어 너와 나 사이의 우주를 건너 내게로 우주 like to come on 너와 나 사이의 거리 그 사이 우주 가득히 너로 채울게 나에게 다가와
It is time for Cultural Interlude. Guess who's here? Michael's here.
Good
Yay.
morning. Good morning.
Oh, you're looking so stylish today.
아, 요즘에 좀 차려보려고 노력하고 있어요.
Oh, 너무. I mean,
네.
not that you looked bad before, but like, you know, with the fresh haircut.
Yeah,
And,
before it was all black. 맨날 새까만 것만 입고 나오다가 좀 바꿔보고 있습니다.
Yes, yes. You know, our text topic though today is anything major or even minor, something small that makes or breaks your day. So people have been talking about, like I was, you know, like talking about like if I have a good hair, you know, good hair day, I feel better. And then Haley was talking about things like, you know, her allergies are flaring up and like the little 잔머리 that it like bothers her, like she's extra sensitive. Some people have mentioned things like, what if they have a good meal? It kind of like just makes her day. So do you have anything like that? Or it could ruin your day, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, like whenever you wake up in the morning and you feel refreshed. You don't get that a lot these days, right?
Yeah, I get it.
And like but like 1 or 2 days, you really feel refreshed.
Yes.
You feel like wide awake.
Like you feel like well rested, right?
Yes, exactly. 그럴 때 진짜 느낌 좋아요. 오늘
그쵸.
되게 운수가 좋겠다.
뭔 좋은 일 있겠다.
아, 진짜 좋은 일 있겠다 오늘은. 네, 그런 게
Okay.
있죠.
Thank you for sharing. So it is the final episode for Cultural Interlude.
Yes.
Yes. So
이번 주죠.
what do we have?
So today we're heading to Indio, California. Yeah, it's a place, name of a place where one of the world's most influential music festivals is still going on. So
No offense to Indio. It's like desert and like nothingness.
nowhere, really?
It's just,
I've never been there.
It's very rural. Yes. Okay.
So you can imagine like
Indio, California.
those like this racquetball thingy, like just rolling around and stuff, right? Like
the tumbleweed.
the tumbleweed. that's the yeah.
Yeah, tumbleweed.
그런 느낌이구나.
진짜 그런 느낌이에요.
아, 진짜요?
In many parts of it, and of course, there's like, you know, the in town Indio, but I mean,
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay. That's Indio, everyone. So, okay. So this year's Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, which is running from April 10th to April 19th,
Yes.
isn't just another star-studded event. It feels like a turning point, especially for K-pop on the global stage.
Right. So I mean, just wrapping up. I mean, Coachella is huge. Like, you know, every year we hear about like who's coming, who's headlining, who made a surprise appearance. So what made this year stand out?
So Coachella has always been more than a festival, right? So since it's launched in 1999, it's grown into a cultural powerhouse, drawing over 200,000 attendees and millions more through live streams on YouTube. So, but this year, what stood out was how clearly it reflected a shift in global pop culture. So K-pop didn't just appear; it layered itself into the festival's history, with artists from different generations reshaping what that stage represents.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into all that, the K-pop facet.
Yes.
However, who were the major headliners this year?
This year's headliners included Sabrina Carpenter,
Yep.
Justin Bieber, and Karol G. And these three artists represent very different corners of global pop.
Right.
And alongside them, electronic project Anima made waves as a special guest premiering new material.
Okay, so we're already seeing like there's diversity. I like that, right?
Exactly.
So tell us more.
Yeah, you mentioned diversity.
Yes.
It created the perfect context for what K-pop artists brought to the table for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I definitely saw the clips of Big Bang. They
Bang.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, if you're of a certain age, And even if you're younger,
but I love you, 다가지마. Boom, 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 boom.
see, I can be the tambourine girl. Just not going to sing along the way.
Big Bang's back.
Right. And the thing is this, weren't they, I remember like back in the day, like hearing they were going to perform, but they didn't or something like that?
Yeah. So Big Bang was originally scheduled to perform at Coachella in 2020, actually.
Okay.
But we all know that was
pandemic.
when COVID hit. But the festival was canceled, due to the pandemic. The moment basically lingered unfinished, incomplete. So now, years later, they finally returned as a trio, which includes G-Dragon, Taeyang, and Taesung.
Yes.
And delivered a performance that felt like both a comeback and a statement.
A statement? What do you mean by statement?
A statement that they're still relevant, not just historically, but musically.
Right.
So they perform iconic hits like 거짓말 and Fantastic Baby, songs that defined an era or generation. But the set wasn't just nostalgia. It was a tightly constructed 60-minute performance that hinted at something bigger, a possible new chapter, maybe even a global tour.
Okay, so once again, not just looking back, but maybe looking towards the future, moving forward.
Exactly. Yes. So it felt like a signal flare, a reminder that legacy acts can still shape the present.
Indeed. And then I think I saw like a clip of Taesung. Wasn't he doing like 트로트 as well?
Yeah, it was one of his songs from his solo album.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a moment. 트로트 at Coachella, right?
It's a really good show to watch. So if you haven't seen it yet, you gotta watch it.
All right.
Taesung singing 트로트.
Yes. And then we have moving from Taesung to Taemin.
Yeah.
And so tell us about Taemin's performance.
Yeah. So Taemin became the first Korean male solo artist to officially appear in Coachella's lineup.
Okay.
And his performance on the Mojave stage really stood out, not because of scale, but because of depth.
What do you mean by depth, though?
So Taemin treats performance as a kind of art form in itself. So his stage wasn't just choreography; it was just a carefully constructed experience. Movement, lighting, and pacing. It all worked together to create something very, very immersive.
Okay.
So he's been performing for nearly 2 decades now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and that experience showed. So it wasn't just polish. It was intentional, and I think he was like the 막내 member, the youngest member of SHINee.
He was 막내.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now, after decades, he's back as a solo artist.
Yes. I do also want to mention Cat's Eye because they're very different from Big Bang and Taemin.
Completely different.
Yes.
But that's the point, right? It's about diversity, as you said. So Cat's Eye represents the next generation of K-pop shaped by global collaboration.
Sure.
So they're a joint project between HYBE and Geffen Records, and their identity is inherently international.
Right, and some people have even asked, like, are they really K-pop? Are they not? But that's for a different day, that discussion. So how do they use this like whole inherently international facet to their advantage?
So they treated Coachella like a playground, basically. So their performance was energetic, confident, and designed to connect.
Right.
So their new song, Pinky Up, carried a simple but very powerful message, which says, everything depends on how you think, or it depends on your mindset.
Sure.
And then there was a surprise moment.
Right.
Yes. Virtual characters from the animated project K-pop Demon Hunters appeared on stage and performed Golden with them.
Yes. So that definitely made waves as well. So we're like talking about, blending animation with a live performance. So
exactly. So it shows how modern pop culture isn't confined to one format anymore.
Yes.
It's layered, music, visuals, storytelling, all interacting.
Right. I hear that there was, speaking of variety, I mean, another notable moment on the stage. So what happened?
So this is also worth mentioning. So DJ Yuna is a Korean DJ, opened the stage at the Sahara stage, which is one of Coachella's biggest electronic music platforms. So she's a Korean-born artist who built her career in Dubai. and her music reflects that global identity.
Okay, so what makes her sound distinctive?
So it blends emotional intensity with dance energy. I mean, there's a kind of contrast. I mean, melancholy and euphoria happening at the same time. That duality really fits, I believe, the Coachella atmosphere.
Yes.
Especially in the desert setting. But, you know, I mean, more than explanations, you gotta go and listen to it.
Yes, yes. But, you know, when we look at this history of K-pop, I mean, we've heard about it in the past, like, oh, they had like a short performance here, there. It did not happen overnight.
Not at all, not at all. So the first Korean act to perform at Coachella was the experimental duo EE back in 2011. So that was the first Korean act.
Okay.
From there, artists like Epikay, Hyogo, Chanbinai, and The Rose gradually built a presence at the festival.
Right.
Then in 2023, Blackpink became the headliners.
That's right.
Yeah, which was a major turning point.
Right, and then ever since then, I mean, K-pop has become like a regular part of the lineup, right?
Exactly. So groups like Artemis, ENHYPEN, and Le Sserafim have followed. And artists like aespa and 21 appeared through curated stages like 88 Rising.
Right.
80s. Sorry, not Artemis, but 80. Okay.
그냥 넘어가려고 했는데요. 피디님
여기서
왜
뽀록이
그러세요?
나버리네. 제가 I'm not from this generation.
근데 지금까지 너무 잘했어요.
지금 정말 아니 근데
긴장하면서 다
진짜
읽으시는 거.
표정 하나도 안 바뀌고 얘기할 수 있어요 저는 이제.
네.
저 알아요. 엔하이픈 알고 르세라핌 알아요. 21도 알고 80G만 몰랐어요.
네네네.
Okay, my bad. 아티즈 아니고요. 80G입니다.
네. 그리고요. We have someone saying, 코첼라 현장 취재 주세요. You want to go?
I mean, if I can, I would.
Oh yeah, we would all go.
Yeah, we would all go.
피디님 대표.
Yeah, there are three of us in here right now. 피디님과
we'll go.
Catherine,
Yeah.
we'll all go.
We'll all go.
Definitely for sure.
Yes. So, yeah, it's not just K-pop though. I hear that other Asian artists and acts were like presented, right?
Yes, so there were also J-pop artists from Japan, like Fuji Kaze, Creepy Nuts, and others were part of the lineup.
Yes.
This shows that Coachella is becoming a truly global festival, not just in audience, but in representation.
Yes. So as we wrap up, not just today's segment, but for the entire season, how would you summarize this year's Coachella?
So I would say in one sentence, I would say this. So this was the year Coachella stopped being just a festival. It became a mirror of how global pop culture is being rewritten.
Ooh, I like.
I'm going to say bling, 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 bling 이런 느낌. A great summary.
감독님 오늘
링링링링. 죄송합니다. 뭐라도 해야 될 것 같았고 지금 마지막. This is our last cultural interlude.
I know.
Yeah, I gotta make a scene. I mean, before.
Right. 감독님,
네.
are you coming back next season?
So I'm looking at our PD님 now. And PD님's like, 나 좀 생각해볼게요. I might be.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
You're gonna have to check in all days next week to figure out.
All days next week. Look for me in one of the channels. I might be there, I might not. It depends on the PD. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Well, thank you. It's been a joy. Thank you so much for all the research, your segments, and we'll hopefully see you next week, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Everybody, this was Michael Kang once again. It is time to wrap up our show on Thursday morning, but before I let all of you go, once again, it is the 12th anniversary of the Seoul ferry, the tragedy, the accident. So let's take a moment to remember what happened. Final song is Lean on Me by Bill Withers. Have a beautiful day. Bye, everybody.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call